does it look? It looks a bit weird to me.
I got a compost advert.
A compost advert? Well, we're supposed to be live, but it's looking a little bit strange. Oh, it's better now. It's better. So if you're here, let me know. Please give me a comment. Hi, Carol. Hi, Diana. Welcome. It's Friday night. Hi, Cheryl or Cheryl. What do you prefer? Hi, Nettie. Hi, Trandans. Hi, MJ. Hello, Adam. Hello, Rue. Thanks for joining us this evening. Yeah, well, it's cold. Aurora storm. It's cold, damp and grey here in London.
Your head looks very short.
Sorry, Paul, my head looks what?
Very short with your scarf.
What do you mean? It looks completely normal. My hair's a little flat because
Your
I've
head.
washed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I've washed my hair, Paul.
Yeah.
It's a little bit flat. Is it still drying? How rude Paul is sometimes. Hello, Nancy Noo. Hello, Jane. Hello, Leslie. Hello, Jade. Hello, Lamia, Sarah, Sally, Biscuits and Grovey, Sis, Karen, Sarah. Well, I've just washed, actually, which in itself is a bit of a miracle in this house at the moment because we have a few issues with our facilities and plumbing and things like that. Yeah, it's like living in the bloody dark ages in this house. I had to have a full strip wash earlier because we got no shower and we can't use the bath at the moment. It's all a little bit, yeah. And we're waiting for 3 plumbers to get back to us. So I tell you. Hello, Robert. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, here in London, it is now grey and cold and wet, but it's not as wet as it is down in the southwest. They're getting a lot of rain. Hello there, Sally. Hello there, Caroline. Thank you for joining me this Friday evening. Good Friday. Good Friday. I don't know why they call it Good Friday, because there's really nothing good about it, really, is there?
Day off.
Well, no, but I mean in terms of what happened to our Lord Jesus. Yeah, on the cross. Because it was on the Friday, wasn't it? That he was strung up on the cross and killed. Murdered by... Who murdered him? Was it the Romans?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Just a lot of good, the Romans.
Well, the Romans formed a lot of what is now modern society in a way, didn't they? Along with the Greeks. Yeah. How lovely. Yes, Robert, I was saying that typical Easter weather for when Easter is at this time of year, because it's quite late this year, isn't it? Again, that's all a bit ridiculous, isn't it? It's all determined by the moon. Just fix a date. Fix a date, like Christmas. Have it the same time every year so people know where they are. I mean, Christmas doesn't change, does it? Well, you know, whatever.
Well, of course it has changed.
But whatever, Paul. I'm just catching up, making sure. Hi there, Tony. Nancy knew you've had a lovely sunny day in Kent. Yeah, I think kind of Kent's okay, but the southwest is really getting it. Yeah, and it is feeling chilly now. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, it's feeling chilly because it's been so bloody windy. It has. Very, very breezy. And of course, when it's breezy in an old Victorian property, it really gets in. Yeah, I am just sick of feeling cold. I want to feel warm. Thank you, Brian, and hello there, Penny. Well, our heating comes on a bit later. We don't put it on outside of usual hours because we can't afford it. Yeah, and we haven't got any credit now. We've used all the credit over the winter. So, yeah. Paul's fine. Aren't you, Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, well, I think it's essential wear an hoodie at this time of year. I've only got one layer on underneath. I've just got a t-shirt on, so it's not as bad. Jane, worst thing about bank holidays is suspension of normal telly. So, funny you've mentioned Carry On, because at the Great Green Barn, there is an upcoming event. What's it called, Paul?
Can't Stop Carrying On.
Can't Stop Carrying On. It's a one-man show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, one-man show. And it's all about the Carry On films and Peter Rogers. And the actor plays several roles. So I'm really looking forward to that because we love a Carry On film. And yeah, love them. So looking forward to that. And looking forward to meeting the actor as well because he looks super talented. So yeah. Hello, Debbie Ann. Paul, what is on the menu tonight? Sally's asking. What are we having to eat? Last night it was fried rice, egg fried rice, which I found a little bit dry, to be honest, Paul.
I thought it was a little bit wet.
I thought it was a bit dry, actually. I did. Not as nice as my soya burgers. Yeah, which were delicious, although they were a little bit salty. I put a little bit too much yeast extract in there, I think. And combined with the soy sauce, I think it was just a little bit too much, and the miso, but they were delicious. They were. Jade, 27 in Florida. Oh, how lovely. How lovely. We dream of 27. It rarely gets to 27 in the UK. I mean, it might hover at 27 for a couple of days and we might get 32. We have had 40, haven't we?
41.
41, but it's only a day usually. Hi, Shaz. Oh, you've been to Avery. How lovely. We were planning on Avery a few weeks ago, but we didn't get round to it. Change in routine, Sarah. Well, it's interesting. I think I was saying on my vlog last week how I don't seem to have any sense of routine now. It's weird because the days all seem to blend into one, and I sometimes don't know what day it is, which I think in some ways is quite good. In fact, we were talking about that last week, weren't we? Yeah, here. What are we having, Paul? What did you say we were having for dinner?
Bean pasta.
Broad bean pasta with pesto.
With pesto.
Yeah, because there's a jar of pesto open, Paul.
I know, that's why we're
yeah, I need to use it. Yeah. Hello, Donna. Bonjour. Ça va? The burgers are good. I would love to crack getting a more solid texture, but I believe that the company, Linda McCartney, they achieve it with methyl cellulose, which is something that I don't want really to put in my food. It's not bad for you, but I don't really want to have to buy a 10-kilogram bag of methyl cellulose and never use it again. Yeah. Let me see. Marinated tofu, merchant grain, selection of vegetables, and pesto. Carry on screaming, Cheryl. Yeah, of course, that stars the wonderful Fenella Fielding. Do you mind if I smoke? What?
Comments.
What? Did you just put that? Oh, yeah, you did. Oh, well, there you go. Famous line. Do you mind if I smoke? Which, of course, our car is named after Fenella Fielding. Are there any soy substitutes you could use for those burgers? Well, you could use lentils.
Give it a different texture.
You would probably have to reassess the binding agents and maybe add a little bit more. You could use mashed beans as well. They're quite good for burgers. But with the soya, I was trying to achieve a texture similar to the Linda McCartney burgers, but it's quite difficult without using methyl cellulose. Yeah. Yeah, Fenella Fielding. I met her once in Covent Garden. I was working in Leicester Square for Ticketmaster, 48 Leicester Square at the time. Or was it when we were in No. Were we in Cranbourne Street or St Martin's Lane or Leicester Square? I can't remember. But I was in Covent Garden and I went into a shop and I can't remember which shop it was. But she was in there. And yeah, she was fabulous. Very, very sweet. So I'm just catching up with the comments. Hello, Ronnie. Hello, Santoshi. We've got 66 people here, which is great. Thank you for spending your Good Friday evening with me. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's been a busy week, actually, and today's been quite busy as well. Although I have to say, I got to 3 o'clock and I said I'm having a little rest now because I've been editing like crazy for a couple of days. We did a photo shoot down at the Great Green Barn on Wednesday. Well, I did a photo shoot, which was good with Vanessa. So there is going to be a new series coming up, a series of shorts all about the Great Green Barn. And for any of you that don't know, the Great Green Barn is affiliated and attached to For Earth's Sake, which is the plastic-free shop owned by Vanessa Ford Robbins and who Paul works for. And yeah, I'm involved now doing photography and shoots for them. So yeah, a new shorts series is coming up soon, which is going to be quite fun. So I'm looking forward to presenting that to you, which is going to be here on YouTube and also on Instagram as well. So far, I've edited, in the past couple of days, I've edited 6 episodes. And of course, they're all 3 minutes or less. So they're quite, easy to watch. Hello there, Andy. Welcome. Thank you, Sally. I'm enjoying having short hair again because it was quite long at the back and I really needed to get rid of it and have a change. I've always been the kind of person that likes to change their hair. I was a teenager in the 80s, so you were nobody if you weren't changing your hair every week and doing something different or dyeing it a different color. And I can honestly say that it has been every color you can think of and more. So yeah, it was due for a change. Thank you, Bon777. I do appreciate that. I do try. And of course, now I've got a huge selection of photography available on our coffee page as well, for people to purchase. And I've made a few sales already, which I'm absolutely delighted with. Really, really pleased, because I think they're a bargain at $250. And the majority of them are from our trips, but I've also recently added quite a few of my arty photographs as well, which I'm really pleased with. Well, Andy, the great thing about hair is it grows. And believe me, it'll be long again soon. It'll be long again soon. Hi, Hydron. Thank you, Carol. Have I missed something? Oh, hello there, Dean. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Well, there's something about being able to change the way that you look, which I really like. I mean, I look very different with glasses than I do without glasses. I always used to wear contact lenses, but can't be bothered with that now. And plus I get quite dry eyes. So, but I like having face furniture, as I call it. I cut it myself, Debbie Ann. Nobody else cuts my hair. I do it myself. That's it. Now, my secret is clippers with a very large clipper guard, a hair guard. So I have, you get number 1 and number 2 and number 3, number 4. Well, I've got like number 12, number 14, number 16, 18, and 20, which are massive. So it enables you to cut your hair the same length all over without having to worry about layering or doing anything, special. So yeah, I think it's fun doing your own hair. When mine was long, I just used to cut bits off, when I felt it was getting too long. Hi, Maxine. Happy Easter to you as well. And of course, we have an Easter egg. Yeah, can't wait to dive into that for breakfast on Sunday morning. I'll always remember Christmas and Easter, we were always allowed as children to eat some chocolate in the morning. There's nothing like chocolate in the morning to get the body going. That sugar rush, that glucose spike that we all know and love.
Also, as an adult, you can have it whenever you want. So you could have it every morning.
Well, yeah, but
with
that's
your cereal.
But as I've just said, Paul, that's the thing we have to be careful of now, the glucose spike, don't we? You've got to be careful nowadays. Before you know it, you've got diabetes. Hurrah. Oh. We have to be careful. Thank you, Debbie Ann. Well, it's very easy with the clipper guard. And also I just sort of take the fringe and I texturize it. I cut into it. I point cut it. So, and also I've had a number of hairdresser friends over the years, who I used to go to cut my hair. So you kind of learn a few sort of techniques here and there. And, I think in another life, I probably should have been a hairdresser because I love playing with hair. I love coloring hair. I used to experiment on my sisters as well as myself. And I've had a few bleaching accidents over the years. My hair used to be, believe it or not, almost black. Very, very dark brown. And my dream was always to be blonde. And of course, I kind of got my wish. I'm one of God's blondes now. as they say. I got my wish eventually to be a natural blonde, albeit grey. In this light, it looks blonde, but it's actually very steely grey. Um, but yeah, my hair was very difficult to bleach to blonde, to white blonde. And that, of course, is what I always wanted. So I had to learn how to really bleach it. And I used to use, the hairdressers among you will know, I used to use 60 vol peroxide and I used to leave it on for like an hour and a half. That was the only way I could get to pale, pale yellow, which of course then I would tone up with a purple toner. Um, but yeah, my hair journey. Well, of course, Nettie, it's chocolate. I'm a chocolate addict. Ugh. Oh, yeah, Cheryl. I've actually taken all my hair off at one stage with pure clippers. Yeah, I've done that. Oh, yeah, yeah. We've all got to be careful as we're getting older. You've got to be careful. Hi, Rebecca. We've got to be careful with sugar. I mean, sugar is not good for anybody. Um, but yeah, it's really not good. You've been doing your own hair since lockdown, Dean. You know what? Save a fortune. Here in London, when I was first working down the road at Learning Disabilities, um, and sort of, had a little bit of disposable income, I used to go to a posh hairdresser's in Ealing Broadway. And that I was still colouring my hair at that time. And for a cut and a colour and a blow dry, it was like 90 quid.
And a parking ticket.
And a parking ticket, or a taxi home as well. It would be over 100 quid. So yeah, I don't do that anymore. No, I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, I think very dark hair, when it goes grey, it it goes a very nice silver colour, I think. Funny you should say that, Caroline, but when my hair was turning grey, it actually went paler and paler, and then I actually went slightly red. My beard went red when it was turning grey. I had all little bits of ginger in my beard. So I think I've got a little bit of red in colouring in my hair. When it was very dark brown, there was a sort of, I don't know, occasionally you could see little slightly redder bits. I think that was when it was changing, when it was turning grey. But I went through a phase of not actually knowing what hair colour I had, because I was dyeing it all the time. But it got to the stage where I'd dye it, and I was dyeing it a blue black, that within 2 days there would be a line of white. So I just gave up and grew it all out. Although I did make a mistake when we first started YouTube. I tried one of those colouring shampoos where you just shampoo it in, you don't have to wait, and it slowly turns your hair dark. That was a big mistake. Big mistake, because I couldn't get rid of it. I didn't realise it was permanent. What's the idea for a video, please, Paul?
Cutting my hair.
No, we're not doing that. It's a personal thing. It's been suggested before, and I don't know that I think there's just something. I think there's something really personal about cutting hair. That's kind. I mean, it's not as though I did hair washing, didn't I? I did the reverse shampooing video, and that was a little bit personal. I did the skincare video, but I don't know. There's something about cutting hair. I think it's because we're usually in a sort of cramped space, because I like to do it in the dressing room. Because when you use clippers, it creates a lot of very tiny little bits of hair, and the cleanup is quite lengthy. And I don't really want to do it downstairs where we've got space on my Persian rug, frankly. Even though we have a Persian rug in the dressing room, it's the dressing room rug. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really want to film it in the dressing room because it's too small a space. So it would all be a bit faffy. Plus, I end up having to bathe afterwards because of all the bits of hair, and no, it's just too much of a faff. I think that's why I draw the line. Tony, I'm just, you know what? I'm just so lucky to have had my hair end up this colour, you know? Hello, Moscow. Wow, thank you for joining us. 23 degrees. Thank you, Kate. Yeah, I think the whole hair cutting thing, I do enjoy having a new look. I do enjoy doing it, but I'm always slightly nervous as well, because I'm worried that I'm doing the back, and I'm worried that the guard will slip and I'll suddenly shave the back of my head, because I don't want a shaved look. I hate to say it, but I can't stand all these looks for men that are all so, they're all the same. All the young guys all look the same. You know, they've all got these shaved back and sides. They all look like that Korean dictator, as far as I'm concerned, Kim Jong-chung or whatever his name is. You know, I said before, I was a teenager in the 80s. And the way to be was to be as different as you could be. You know, yes, people did follow a certain amount of fashion, but one couldn't afford all those clothes. So one had to sort of make do with what one had and get things as cheaply as possible, you know, from a catalogue or from the Oxfam shop. I mean, I remember my grandfather gave me a World War II trench coat, massive grey trench coat, which hadn't probably been cleaned for like 40 years. But it was massive, and it was grey, and it had big, big 40s shoulders, you know? And I loved that coat. It was so warm. Um, I lived in a house at the time that we couldn't afford to heat. We didn't have central heating. We had little convector heaters. We had a 50p meter, so you could barely afford to heat anything. Have the heating on or the hot water. So I lived in that coat. And also I had some detachable shoulder pads, which I put into every other piece of clothing I had, because that was the fashion, you know. Sorry, I've just seen a couple of questions gone by. Sorry. Will we be going to Kew Gardens over the Easter weekend? I'm not sure. It'll probably be busy.
No, we won't.
Did I ever have a mullet? Well, I had a mullet last week or the week before. And yes, I had a mullet in the 80s. Absolutely. And very often it was backcombed on end and sticking up like a crazy person. And I still like that look now. And that look is back. Yeah, so, you know, it's interesting because I think fashion is cyclical. We all know this. You know, it comes back. And I think the 80s sort of sensibility is kind of coming back now because a lot of people can't afford to buy clothes regularly anymore. I mean, there was a time, and I think in the past 20 years, where people have become used to fast fashion, you know, pop out, buy a load of clothes, cheap clothes, wear them for 10 minutes and then chuck them, you know. And I think that thinking is disappearing now, you know. Um, okay, so 50p meter, Leslie. This is where people that
Electric meter.
basically people that didn't have a lot of money, who were living hand to mouth, landlords would put a meter in where you would pay for your electricity with 50 pences. So you would put the 50p in, turn the meter, and the 50p would go in, and that would give you another couple of hours of electricity. And yeah, they're now key meters, and they're installed usually in homes where people can't afford much. And paradoxically, it costs more, that system. So yeah, we were very poor. We were living in rented accommodation that was damp and cold. And if you ran out of 50p's, if you ran out of money, that was it. You went to bed, basically, because you couldn't afford the heating and you couldn't afford light. So you just went to bed. And you kind of knew when it was going to run out. You had a feeling. Yeah. And it's interesting because I've lived in all sorts of places and states, as in state of property. I lived in a caravan with my mum, where we had the only washing facilities were a sink and a kettle. That was it. Yeah. So, you know, we cope with whatever we've got. And I think when money is tight, and that's kind of how we're living now, it's hand to mouth. You know, yes, we're more fortunate than many people. We can afford to have the lights and a little bit of heating on. But you kind of just cope because you've coped before with tough times, you know. And of course, our parents had tougher times, and our grandparents went through world wars. So, you know, and all of that, what's the word? All of that learning was passed on, you know, making do with what you've got. And that's kind of what we're doing now. We're making do with what we've got. We don't buy clothes. I mean, I think the last time I bought any clothes, I bought a set of 5 t-shirts online, Fruit of the Loom, because I needed some t-shirts because the old ones were becoming threadbare. Yeah. And I think I bought a pair of shoes for summer a couple of years ago, and I've hardly worn them. So yeah. Sorry, I was rambling on there. I've missed a lot of comments. Yeah, Nancy New, I agree. There are a lot of girls that look so similar now. I mean, the look, yeah, the eyebrows, the lips, the boobs, the sort of doll look. And fashion, this is what happens. People copy each other. I think the individual thing seems to have had a time of not being a thing. It's coming back now, I've noticed, with a few of the younger pop stars. They're kind of embracing this individual look again, which I think is healthy and creative. You know, I mean, what do they say? Imitation is a form of flattery. But I think this imitation of people has kind of gone to that sort of weird spectrum where people do look a bit plastic, you know. But I get it. I get it. Yeah, I think, Sarah, I think loads of things had coin meters. I mean, I remember living in a house share with some friends in Harrow. We had a key meter and we had to go and charge the key up at a hole in the wall where you put, I think you put a money in and put your key in and it charged it up. So yeah, you know, yeah, how these companies make money. Well, I see you. We'll be moving when we move, you know, that we're not going to sell up. I mean, at the end of the day, the prices are up and down like a yo-yo in London, you know. One week they're saying prices are going down, nobody wants to live in London, they want to live in the countryside. And literally the week after they're saying the opposite. So, you know, prices in this particular area pretty much stay the same because it's a high demand area because of the schools. So, sorry?
And the green space.
And the green space, yeah, we're really fortunate. Hanwell keeps its prices. We're in a place called Old Hanwell, which is a village to itself. Yeah, price is pretty much buoyant at the moment, so we don't worry about that. Yeah, I think London itself. I mean, we're in a London postcode. We're as far west as you can go in London.
The traditional London.
With a traditional London postcode. We're in the W7 area. Prices, in our experience, have really not changed that much. They've steadily risen. There have been times where the prices have leveled out, not changed much for a couple of years, and they sort of tend to go up. It's very, very rare that they will plummet. It would take a major recession for that to happen, but we're not too worried because we've got quite a good deal on our mortgage. So it's pretty stable and it's going to be stable for quite a while. So yeah, we're not worried about that. Now, Caroline, you've just reminded me actually that I need to buy some jogging pants because mine are literally threadbare on the knee. Sally, you ask what desserts do we have? Well, we do have dessert every night, and it's usually fresh fruit, very often apples or pears or grapes, with a little bit of Greek yogurt on top, but with no sweetener. That's our dessert most nights. About 3/4 of an hour after we've eaten our dinner, we have our dessert, and it's just nice. So we like a little bit of fruit each day. Let me just make sure. Yes, Jane, I think that's right. I think, I mean, obviously, we were born in the 60s, but our parents were born, well, Paul's parents were a little bit older than mine. My dad died, is it 2 years ago now?
I have 4.
Is it 4? Oh my God. Really? I can't remember. But my dad died at 80. My mum died at 51 in 1995. And they were both born in the 40s. But my grandfather was in Burma. So yeah, he was a sergeant major. So he didn't get back until quite late. Yeah. So we kind of grew up with stories about how people coped. And I remember at school, which was obviously the 70s, the teachers taught us or told us stories about frugality, and about having to make do with rationing. So I think a lot of those lessons and sensibilities were ingrained in, certainly in me as a child, from my granny. I used to help her clean, and make the fire first thing in the morning, because when my granny was a young woman, she was in service. I don't know where she was in service, but it was probably a large house or maybe a hotel, I don't know. But yeah, so it was ingrained in her that the first thing you did in the morning was set the fire, because without the fire, you didn't have any hot water, because they had a back boiler, and they had no central heating. So, you know, I grew up in a non-centrally heated house with coal fires. So for us, coping without heating has not been the end of the world. It's been very uncomfortable at times, but it's not been the end of the world, you know? So because we kind of grew up without it. I remember ice on the inside of the window, and we lived in a new build house in the 70s. But we didn't have double glazing and we didn't have central heating. So it was bloody cold, you know. And in fact, we've had ice here as well. So, you know. Hello, Geraldine. Sorry, just catching up. Thank you, Sarah. I'll look into that. Well, I've got my starry leggings on at the moment. Yes, I can lift my leg up. I'm still flexible. You all know these ones. These are years old. Years old. In fact, I've noticed they're going in the groinal region. I don't want them to turn into peekaboo pants. In fact, where is Jeanette? Is she with us tonight? I've not seen her name. Just looking through. Ah, Nettie. Your granddad was a governor in Burma. A commissioner. My grandfather worked in Sri Lanka in the 70s. He was something to do with drilling. I don't know what, but it was drilling, and he sort of managed something, I don't know. So he used to travel and would bring back loads of stuff. And this is where my big elephant is from. My granddad brought that back from Sri Lanka in the 70s. It's very heavy. And he also bought a load of gold and jewels back, because in those days you could bring virtually anything back in your suitcase. But yes, and when they died, this was the one thing. Well, I wanted two things: a small table, which was an old pub card table, which I remember polishing as a child, and this. I wanted this, and I got it. There we are, Sri Lanka. And this Shaz is from Avery, from Elements. Sorry, let me catch up. Oh, wow, Dean. You have a wood burner-oo, and you've got radiators that are heated from it. Yeah, great. Rhubarb crumble, love it. So what was that about Greenford I noticed? I didn't see
Debbie
that.
Ann's
Sorry, Debbie Ann.
grandma, I think, had a salon,
Oh,
hair salon.
okay. Sorry, just catching up, everybody. Rebecca, you're making stew tonight. Oh, how lovely. I love a good stew. Nettie, we have, well, I think his tusks are ivory. I think the wood is ebony. Yeah, ivory. I mean, it's old ivory, so it's okay. But we have a collection of elephants, and they're put away at the moment in a box. They suddenly seemed to come. Elephants suddenly seemed to appear at one point. We suddenly had a collection. Caroline, you've got Indian blood. Amazing. Wow. Yes, Cheryl, I got a shungite bracelet, which I wear every day. I haven't got it on at the moment because I had a wash earlier and took my jewellery off. But yeah, Avery's just amazing. And we follow Donna, who runs the shop Elements, which is within the Stone Circle. And it's a beautiful shop. I always end up buying something from either of the shops there. Yeah, anything I buy from there feels as though it's been infused with the energy of Avery. And, no matter what you believe, the energy of Avery is you can kind of feel it. We always feel uplifted, energized, calm. And of course, your mind goes to thinking about all the questions of why. Why did ancient man build these monuments? What were they for? I mean, they know that, a lot of the monuments are lined up with the sun, the moon, the stars, some kind of celestial calendar, if you like. But my interest is trying to get into the mind of ancient man. How would they have felt looking at the heavens at night? It would have been a very different experience because we have the benefit of knowledge now and science. They didn't have that. So their imaginations, their thinking, their working out would have been from a completely different perspective than ours, and probably the creativity involved in their thinking would have been completely different than ours again. So what I'm saying is what that creativity conjures up is shown in these monuments, it's, yeah, fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Okay, Rue, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Jane, well, yeah, I grew up on the Alangana books as well. And of course lived a stone's throw. Well, my granny's telephone number back in the day was Alderley Edge 3420. I can remember it. So we visited Alderley Edge regularly as children. I used to go there on my bike with my friends, and I know the Edge pretty well. And of course, a lot of the mines and the caves there are now closed up. But you used to be able to go down quite far. Yeah. The things we used to do as kids, I mean, crazy. So yes, Alangana. I'm a big fan of the Weird Stone of Brisingamen, the Moon of Gomrath, the Owl Service, and of course, more recently, Boneland, which is the third book in the Weird Stone series, which is totally different. So yeah, and that's my area, Cheshire. That's where I grew up, you know. Macclesfield is my hometown, if you like, but I originate from, my family is from Wilmslow, and I was born in Knutsford. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we used to say, Sarah. Um, and yeah, that's what you picked the phone up and said the number. And I can remember my granny saying it, Alderley Edge 3420. And of course, the numbers were very different then. And it's weird because if you think about growing up in the UK, telephone numbers have had to be changed as the number of telephones got more and more and more. So the number was changed, a couple of digits were added. And then, of course, in those days, you didn't have direct dialing to other exchanges. You had to go through the operator to get a number from another exchange. And then they brought in all the different codes around the country. So you had to put the code in front of the number when you dialed. Yeah, amazing, really. And of course, in London, we've seen several changes with the numbers in London. When we first knew telephone numbers of London, it was 01 for London. And then it was 0181.
0171,
Yeah. And then it's 020 for London now. So, yeah. And of course, now nobody uses those numbers anymore. Everybody uses mobiles. Party lines. Yeah, we had a party line. Oh, God, we're really going back now. We had to press the button to get the line. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Crazy. Hi there, Glynis. You're welcome, Cheryl. Just catching up with the comments. Telephone voice. Well, I have a telephone voice, very definitely, because I've worked. The majority of my jobs have been telephone based. You know, my first proper job was working at a place called Treasure Trap at Petherton Castle, which is not far from Chester, opposite Beeston Castle, in the world's first live Dungeons and Dragons role-playing society. And I worked there with my mom. We lived in a caravan, as I mentioned, in the courtyard of the castle. And I worked in the office, taking bookings for the dungeons, which were the games that the Dungeons and Dragons role players played. And that was back in 1984. So I was answering the phone there. My mum was a telephonist and a switchboard operator and a receptionist. That's the kind of work she did. And that's the kind of work I ended up doing. Although I'd done a couple of management roles at certain points. I was a sales floor manager for Ticketmaster, managing a 75 position call center. And I've done supervisory roles. I worked for a company called Database Publications years ago in Cheshire, a place called Adlington in Cheshire, where I supervised a small switchboard call center, taking orders for software. And that was in the early days of software magazines, where people would buy a magazine that related to their particular computer type, and would buy software over the phone. And you would send it, the cassette or the disc would be sent to them. And then, of course, I ended up at the BBC on the switchboard there, ended up being the training manager for the switchboard at the BBC at TV Centre at White City, which was the busiest switchboard in the country. We used to take 17,000 calls a day. And I was working there on the day of 9/11, which was the craziest day ever. We had a board that showed the number of calls holding, and it was capable of getting up to 999. And it stayed on 999 for virtually the whole period. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, I've been in telephones all my life, virtually. So I enjoy telephone work, and I've done quite a bit of outgoing work, sales work as well. Did a little bit of work for Paul at one point, doing group bookings, doing cold calls. So I'm quite confident on telephones, as long as I know what I'm doing. Just catching up with the comments. We've got 84 people and it's 56 minutes. I'm going a little bit longer tonight just to treat you because it's Easter. Cameron, have I ever played Dungeons and Dragons myself? I've never played the board game, but I did take part in a couple of live dungeons at Peckforton Castle. I think I played an orc once and a mercenary. But I didn't like it because most of it was in the dark. It was a pretty scary place. Just catching up. Caroline, I saw Boy George. Well, what do you mean? In concert? When I was in the band, we were managed by Tony Gordon, who used to manage Boy George and a few other acts, including Curiosity Killed the Cat as well. So yeah. Sorry, just having to catch up. Oh yes, Lily Tomlin. She used to do, what was her name? Was it Ernestine, the character? Yes, our Vivi. We're looking forward to visiting our Vivi down in Swanage very soon, hopefully. We're looking forward to that. What are you talking about, Paul? Are you hungry? Are you hungry? Can you go on, Paul?
MJ said that she wasn't worthy of extra time.
He's going nowhere. He's going nowhere. Look, broad bean pesto pasta, you know how long that takes to cook? In my world, that takes 10 minutes and no longer. 5 minutes, 6 minutes. My 6 minute rule with the pasta. I was telling somebody about this the other day. I always completely disregard. Oh, sis. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. It'll go. I promise I'll spend it all on chocolate. Thank you. That's lovely. Well, Jane, hopefully, what normally happens when we see Vivi, we normally either agree not to do any filming of each other, or we say, okay, let's make a couple of videos. We'll both make a video out of this, So we sort of agree that at the beginning. Yeah, we've done a couple of videos together. But because we're both, certainly me, not so much Paul, but we're both videoing a lot of the time. Sometimes you need a little break from it. Sometimes you don't want to be on camera. Yeah. Was it you, Karen? Yeah, that's it. So I was saying to Karen, my rule is 6 minutes. Ignore the timing. When it says 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. No, thank you. My
Mushy
pasta is
pasta.
going to be overcooked. So what I tend to do is I have a 6-minute rule. Always use boiling water. Pasta goes into boiling water. I always boil the kettle. It's quicker. Into boiling water, rapid boil, 6 minutes, then try a piece. And then you can judge it on a minute-to-minute basis. Some take 7. I think penne tends to take about 7 or 8. Fusilli, 6 minutes. If you're doing a pasta bake, 3 minutes. You know, in fact, I'm going to be doing a video on one pot pasta. Our friend cooked us some pasta. Oh, is somebody going? Leslie, you're going. Take care, Leslie. Happy Easter to you as well. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, al dente, Sally, absolutely. So I'm going to be doing a one-pot pasta dish. Our friend did it the other day. It's a Martha Stewart from 10 years ago, but we've never done it. And she did it all in one pot. And it was delicious, I have to say. Yes, it's going to be starchier, but sometimes if you flavor it properly, that starchiness can be creaminess instead. So yeah. Thank you. Do we have Jeanette? Do we have... Oh, you're there, Jeanette. I was just talking about my peekaboo pants before. Do we have any pictures from Bali? No.
It must be somewhere.
Yeah, but they're not digital. Because believe it or not, we went to Bali in 2000. That was just before digital cameras really came in big. I mean, they were expensive. And we didn't have one. We had a film camera. So I think any pictures of Bali that we've got will be probably in a box somewhere. Probably packed up from when we did have the house on the market last time. So yeah. Well, Lucy, in terms of starch, I think sometimes it can be, if you don't flavor it right, it can be a little, the mouthfeel can be a little strange. And I think with certain sauces, it doesn't always work. But I think if it's a plain, you know, tomatoes, basil, seasoning, garlic, onions, if it's that kind of sauce, I think it's good. I think if it's a cheesy sauce, I don't think we need that extra starch, you know. Well, Jeanette, you did lose out because I was mentioning these pants are starting to go at the groin region. So they could become peekaboo. I don't know whether everybody knows the story of the peekaboo pants. I know Jeanette loves it, but I had these shorts. I've still got them. And it was summer and I wasn't wearing any underwear because it was very warm and these pants were nice and baggy. And we went over to our friend's house for dinner and she said to me, "You've got a hole in your pants. I can see you're wearing pink underwear." I said, "I'm not wearing any underwear." And I quickly crossed my legs. Yeah. Talk about embarrassing. Thank goodness we were close. Is somebody going? Sarah going?
Yeah.
Bye, Sarah. Thank you for joining us. Easter, these Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving cactus. The cactus don't know what time of year it is. They flower when they flower. Yeah. Did you like that story? That's the story of the Peekaboo Pants. What can I say? So we're at 1 hour 5, and I think Paul's chomping at the bit to have food. Just have some chocolate, Paul, and be done with it. That's what I would have done years ago. So I think it's probably time to start tying up, because the whole process of saying goodbye takes forever. It's been a jolly good evening, hasn't it? Oh, Derek. Well, maybe we'll go a little bit longer for Derek, because Derek's late in from work. Don't say goodbye just yet, Paul. He's desperate to get that pasta down his gob. I tell you. Derek, did you miss my story about the Peekaboo Pants? Oh dear, you're going to have to play it back, because I think you'll enjoy that one. Yeah, the things that we do, I don't know. I don't want anything peekaboo now, Jeanette. Paul needs food and you need a wee, MJ. We're starting that process. We're starting the goodbye process. People will start dropping off. Well, it's been a fabulous evening. I've really enjoyed myself, and I've really enjoyed talking with you all. Debbie Ann, what are we eating on Sunday? Nothing special. We don't tend to do any sort of special meals other than Christmas, when it's usually a nut roast. So we'll see what we've got. We may invite a friend over to eat. All right, Derek. Okay, you caught the tail end, so to speak. Well, it has been a lovely, varied chat, and I'm hoping that you've learned a few more things about me. What's so funny, Paul?
Oh,
that's what the live show's all about. It's a little bit more personal, you know. I think it's good to share. Oh, what's she telling me now? Have you bought something on Amazon, Paul?
I don't know.
It's probably for you. Yeah, have a good weekend. Have a good Easter. Enjoy the break for those of you who are off. And of course, you know, lots of people are working. Let's think about those people who have to work, you know. I've worked plenty of Easters over the years gone by, you know, mainly because the money was good, and you got a day off in lieu as well, which was good. I don't know who'll be cooking yet, Debbie Ann. We'll see. I might do another throw together video at some point. We'll see what happens. We, of course, have to video Sunday chat. I've also got to put together my vlogs, which will be a little sparse, I think, this week, because last week was really long. So, yeah. Jane, there's plenty of stories I've got about myself, plenty of things that have happened to me over the years that I would not relay and would totally make me cringe. You know, those memories that come back and you think, oh, you shudder and think, no, get down. Go into denial about that. Yeah, that's what I do. You're cooking a nut roast tomorrow. Lovely. Thank you, Sally. Happy Easter to you as well, Nettie. Coco and B. Yeah, exactly. You know, lots of people work at Easter. Yeah, we're not all fortunate. I feel very fortunate to be in the position I'm in, but you know, it's a knife edge, really. Hand to mouth, all of that. So, yes, thank you for joining me this Good Friday. I've had a ball. It's been great. Have a good weekend. I hope you have a peaceful weekend. People go crazy Easter though, don't they? Start doing projects. Just chill out, eat chocolate, chill out, eat some good food, try and relax. Because, you know, we don't get another one, do we yet? When's the next one? May. Oh, we do.
2 weeks.
It's that time of year, of course. The run of bank holidays, 2 in May, aren't there? Yes, May Day and spring. Lovely. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Have a good time. Take care. And we'll see you for Sunday chat.
Sunday chat!
Oh, Paul, not again. God. Say goodbye now. Thank you. And remember, if you want it all, watch Richard and Paul. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. You're all delightful. You're all lovely. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Bye. I'm going to put the phone down first. I am. I know, Dean. He is. We're both permanently hungry. We could eat the day away. Literally. I know. Bye, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take care of yourselves. I'm putting the phone down first. I am. Bye. Bye, Andy. Bye, Lucy. Bye, Cheryl. I'm going. Bye. Bye. Thank you.